Sometimes I just feel like there's a whole world out there I never get to see as long as I'm trapped here in Chinatown. I wish I could just be part of that action. I feel like I'm a background character in someone else's story.
Have you ever felt that way? Can you relate at least partially? Well, in this show there is actually something more to it. What do I mean by that? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me for this review if you like to find out. Willis Wu is a waiter in a Chinese restaurant, the Golden Palace. He always wanted life to be more, but is trapped in a job he doesn't love. However, as it turns out, it is not just a feeling. He actually is trapped, as is everyone else in their respective role. The setting of this world is a police procedural titled Black and White, where the detectives are the main characters. Wherever they show up, suddenly the lighting changes as if a spotlight is following them.
Everyone remain calm.
And Willis, literally just being a background character, he can't even open the door to leave the restaurant if that would mean entering the spotlight.
Trapped in something I don't yet understand.
All right, let's roll.
Things may change for him though, after one of the main show's supporting characters enters the restaurant.
Holy shit.
And starts to interact with Willis. Could this be an opening for him to become part of the main story? Something his big brother almost achieved, making it as far as becoming the police force's Kung Fu guy, before he vanished 12 years ago. What will the future hold? Will Willis become a part of the action or vanish like his brother? And what is up with all those other background characters who died and then mysteriously reappear, though in other roles? Check out the series if you like to find out. This may very well be the most meta show we have seen in years, and there is a lot going on that meta level. It obviously is a comment on how people of Asian heritage are viewed by many in society, and how they are not given a fair chance to succeed, being reduced to stereotypes, like the aforementioned martial arts angle. And even getting there, Willis's brother wasn't called by his actual name, only referred to as the Kung Fu guy. That way the show also comments on Asian actors and how they have a tough time becoming stars in Hollywood. It also works as a metaphor for struggling actors in general and how hard it is to catch a break, while most of them are doomed to stay in the background or have minor roles. It also makes fun of long-running TV shows, police procedurals in particular, where unknown actors often show up in different roles over its course, including being killed off and respawn in other roles. And as in those shows, sometimes extras become supporting actors and previous guest stars turn up again in another role, even sometimes becoming one of the leads. But speaking of respawning, that way the show even makes fun of video game tropes, where you can level up. Here Willis will climb the ladder bit by bit, which is often referred to by the episode name, like the first one being titled Generic Asian Man. So better not spoil yourself by reading the other titles ahead of watching the show.
Whoa, who's that? She looks Thai.
Dude, she's clearly Korean. Know your Asians.
There's also the topic of Asians from different countries and cultures often being lumped together, as well as themes of how being born to parents of two different ethnicities will affect you, as you never feel totally embraced by either of them. So there is a lot going on and a lot of ways to interpret things. Basically, there is something everyone can relate to, whatever your background. The series is also mostly funny, and I say mostly as each episode has its own tone, based on the level where we find Willis. Some are more dramatic, some even have a depressing mood. These changes allow for a lot of variety, which elevates the show, but sometimes, especially when it gets too bleak, also some length is sneaking in. It never gets boring, but in the second half of a series, there are scenes you wish they would have tightened up a little bit. Overall, I really liked the show, for its innovative story and structure, as well as for the message it contains. What also landed really positive with me is the fact that the series, which is based on the book of the same title by Charles Yu, has the author also be the showrunner. Something you don't see enough and something that here mostly panned out. The book, by the way, is written in the form of a screenplay, but even though it lends itself to be used verbatim, of course there were many changes. As there is no follow-up novel yet, I would assume that the show is a limited series, but depending on the streaming numbers, who knows what may happen. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. The show scores with an original concept, great acting, relatable characters, an important message, good production values and overall some pretty enjoyable weirdness. It also has some lengths in the second half, of which some were needed to bring the story home. I enjoyed it mostly, so I think a rating of 7.5 out of 10 should do the trick. If you are an actor or of Asian descent, you will likely relate even more to it, so add another point or two. What about you? Did you like the show or was the setup too weird for your taste? Did you also think that there were some moments they could have shortened? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. Before he vanished 12 years ago. It also makes fun of long-running TV shows. Two different ethnicities. Ethnicities. I would assume